Your media, where you are. Those body goals. The Health Fix with Mo. A body and mind journey towards a healthier you. Get ready, steady, and let's set those body goals. The Health Fix with Mo. A body and mind journey towards a healthier you.
Yeah, I like this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Health Fix with Mo for your weekly dose of your health and fitness knowledge to get you started on your health and fitness journey. And today we are talking rest and recovery, a very important part of your training program because this is actually the time your muscles get to grow. They enhance their performance, if I could put it like that in layman's terms. And today we talk to an entrepreneur, absolute beast. This man, you should see his videos on Instagram in the gym, man. This guy pushes like some heavy weights. Health and fitness professional, former professional athlete, says to be at a hooker.
Yeah, okay.
looks more like a prop big guy, really big guy. And we're gonna dive deeper into this topic. We talk to Mr. Katlego Kgame, my brother.
Oh, good. Thanks yourself, man. And thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So you used to be a professional athlete, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk. So we're gonna break down rest and recovery for athletes and how it's different from us, the civilians,
Okay,
guys who just go to gym just to be healthy.
Okay, so rest and recovery. First of all, we need to break them down. Rest basically is taking a break from training, whereas recovery is actively repairing your muscles to basically your muscles, tendons, ligaments, everything basically, even your psychological state to get you back to a place where you can perform at peak performance.
Okay, so tell us how that affects us if we don't get enough rest. Say between sets. Now we're gonna talk about rest in the gym right now.
Okay.
So we're gonna start it from the bottom and then take it all the way to the top.
Okay, I got
so
you.
talk to us about rest periods in between gym. So obviously it differs from goal to goal, right?
Absolutely.
Some people do it for bodybuilding purposes. Some people do it for strength training, or even some cardiovascular purposes.
Absolutely.
So you need rest. Yeah, and there are different types of rest patterns that you need to adopt or adapt to.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, it just depends which energy system you're training, what your desired outcome is, and that'll effectively tell you what rest period you're looking for. So, if I can just give an example, if let's say you're training power, with power you want to be able to put out maximum output and then have enough rest so you can repeat that maximum output. Versus endurance, where you want to go for as long as you can with as little rest time, if at all. For example, like a marathon runner, they'll just run flat out 10K, 20K,
Yeah.
whatever they're training for.
Okay.
And you'll just sort of periodize that training to complement whatever outcome you're trying to achieve.
Do you mind defining what power output is for us?
So basically, the performance output is essentially how hard you can go. So if you're trying to train power, you're trying to train that aspect, which is essentially, let's say 80 to 100% of your power. You want to achieve that every time. So your rest period will be informed by that, because if you're having minimal rest, muscle's going to fatigue and you're not going to be able to generate that power each set. It's going to decrease. It naturally will decrease, but with enough rest, you can hit those targets, which in the long term will result in more power.
Okay. So you're a health and fitness professional, right?
That's
and
correct.
When you set up your programs, do you designate an amount of rest that you have to put that your client has to do?
Yeah. So what I do is that I designate the rest days depending on their goals.
Yeah.
So
I'm talking like in between trainings or in between.
in between training. Yeah. So I mean, most of my clients is just for lifestyle training. So looking good, feeling good. So we just designate a moderate rest period in between sets.
Yeah.
So you can keep going, fatigue the muscle, get maximum out of the muscle. Yeah. So
give them that stuff. I have no mercy.
Yeah. So because of course you want the best out of them, and you want them to be able to perform at their best during the whatever training outcome you're trying to achieve.
Is it? And do you experience any challenges with that? So, because now we're talking about performance output, right?
Yeah.
Have you been at a stage where you've given them too little rest or too much rest?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, I only get to see them for that hour or 45 minutes or hour and 45 minutes, whatever the case may be.
Mm.
So, what they've done outside of that often impacts, how they walk
Yeah.
into the gym or how they are when I see them.
Yeah.
And so they might be a little bit fatigued. So I may give them a little bit too little rest and they can't perform.
Yeah.
Or perhaps, they might be feeling extra jumpy that day and maybe I'm giving them a bit too much rest and they're just keen to go. So you sort of gauge it as you go along the way.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about the. So I'm gonna say the rest days, because I have a difficult time with like actually talking my clients into taking rest days, because once they get into a certain rhythm, they really want to keep on going, right? And I always have to say like, whoa, do slow your roll, because first it impacts your performance, and secondly it could lead to an injury, right? And then it would take a longer time for us to actually recover, because they have to take a longer break. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So how many rest days would you designate to that?
To be honest, I mean, let's say you have some fitness goals you want to achieve in the least amount of time possible. I would say probably one rest day a week is more than sufficient. In fact, I mean, according to the most bodies and councils, whoever who study this stuff, you only need one rest day every 10 to 7 days of training.
Yeah.
But I would suggest probably one rest day every 7 days. And then on alternate days, you can do what's called active recovery. So where you proactively try speed up the recovery process between training sessions.
Mm. So give us like some examples of active recovery.
Active recovery would be something as simple as just stretching. It could be yoga. It could be some light activity. So maybe just training, but much less sets, like 50% of the weight. It could even be something like yoga, ice baths, that nature.
Sure. Yoga is recovery.
Absolutely. It is. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's active recovery.
Sure. Yeah, no. I've been through a few yoga classes. If I go to a yoga class, I'm taking a rest the next day.
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, you're used to strength training, the muscles are tight. It's because you don't do enough yoga.
Yeah.
You don't do enough active recovery, rather.
Is it? I like, what my active recovery is? Walking. I like walking.
Yeah, it's one of the more sedentary options, but yeah, it definitely helps as well.
Is it? Okay. So which one? So ice baths happen to be one of my favorite ones, and we were talking earlier on in the show that you really, really don't like.
Yeah, I mean, ice baths is not really my cup of tea.
Yeah,
no, it's cold. It gets to a point where it's almost painful, and I'm just like, mentally, I'm not there. I mean, I used to endure it, obviously, in my days as an athlete because I knew the function, but now I don't know, man. It's not really. I'd rather do yoga.
So let's talk about the food that you eat, right? Because now this is important, right? So
absolutely,
it's the 80-20 rule. We spoke about it earlier on, right? Because your diet really plays a whole lot towards your body goals, right? Let's talk about the food that you eat during these rest days.
To be honest with you, so during the rest days, it'll be ideal if you stick to your whatever eating plan that you've personal trainer or your nutritionist has sort of prescribed for you, just because you want to maximize your nutrient uptake to get the best out of your body. So it's not ideal for you to, on your rest day, go out, slam tequilas, drink champagne, because that's sort of undoing all the hard work that you've done, which is obviously not ideal for a rest day, because you want to recover so that you get peak performance your next training session. You're not trying to derail the process.
Yeah. So are you denying people of their tequila?
No, absolutely not. That's what I'm saying. 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time you're focused on your goal at hand, and then 20% of the time enjoy the luxuries of life. I mean, you're not a professional athlete, because they literally sacrifice their lives to do what they do at the level they do and look the way they look, depending on whatever sport it is they're involved in.
Yeah.
So I know everybody wants to look like, have Serena Williams thighs and whatever, The Rock's arms, but it comes with a lot of sacrifices, which is what you need to know.
That's acting. You're not acting. There needs to be a well, also, like, what I've realized is that some people actually do want that type of body. You know what I mean? Some people do actually want to train for that type of body, but they're not willing to sacrifice the rest days or the cheat days if they want. So, right, if you go into the Rock's Instagram, now that we've spoken about him, for instance, on his cheat days, he goes in, dog. That man goes in on the tequila, he goes in on the burgers, he goes in on the dessert. But what he does not show you is the diet that he has when he's training.
Exactly.
Right.
And also, he doesn't tell you how he cycles those cheat days or even the function of those cheat days.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's just showing you the good part. So I would say, and he's also what he's not showing you is how he kills himself in the gym.
Yeah.
Once, potentially twice a day. I don't know his training regimen, but to look that phenomenal, of course, it's going to come with a lot of hard work. So
yeah. So what you've given as an example as a function of a cheat day or a cheat meal. So there are cheat days and there are cheat meals. So some people do, like the really intense athletes or the really intense trainers that I do know have cheat meals instead of cheat days,
which is ideal.
Which is really, really ideal. So what would you say are the functions of a cheat meal or cheat day?
Well, look, I don't want to delve too deep into the science because for example, in a sport like bodybuilding, it actually has a scientific function for the athlete. But in general, the idea of a cheat day is to give yourself a reward after committing yourself to your diet for like 5 or 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And so that what you don't do is try go for 30 days straight, and on day number 15, you get fed up and you just binge the next 2 days, 3 days. And then those 3-4 days become 3-4 weeks, which become 3-4 months. Then you just over the whole process.
Yeah.
So it's to create a healthy relationship and develop it into a lifestyle instead of try punish yourself to try get this body, which you'll maintain for like maybe 2-3 weeks at a time. Yeah. And then it all goes away.
Yeah.
So it's to try essentially make it a lifestyle change versus, a temporary change.
Yeah. Because now, right now we're talking about health versus aesthetic right now. So this is we just went into this topic, right?
Oh, okay.
Because now we're talking about when we compare rest and recovery compared to when you want to train for aesthetics or when you want to train for health.
Absolutely.
Right. So obviously, if I'm going to look at another example is Michael B. Jordan and the training that he's been doing for the last 2 or 3 years, which has been really, really intense for the roles that he's had to play.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been following him, and his diet has been. I don't think that guy enjoys his life as much as I think he does.
Exactly. I mean, like I was telling you earlier, the sacrifices you have to make.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to make them and you're willing to go that, it also takes a lot of mental toughness. It takes a psychological toll on you to look that good.
Yeah.
I mean, bodybuilding in itself is based on aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's easily, if not one of the most difficult sports in the world, because you go in there, you're putting yourself out there and expecting people to judge you how you look, and that's the effort you put in. So you can imagine if you've sacrificed your time with your family, your friends, going out, all the delicious things you enjoy, you step up on stage and they tell you came last.
Yeah.
They're basically telling you you're not good enough. Your effort culminated into zero.
Yeah.
So you can understand psychologically, it's quite intense.
So now that we're talking about, we have some bodybuilders who train twice a day, right? And obviously in that time, yes, there are different muscle groups, but also they train different body groups in the day. But obviously your body has taken a punishment, obviously, from your previous
training
session. How then do they adopt or the rest period? Oh, because the rest period could be like 3 hours before the next training session.
Yeah, look, ideally it probably wouldn't be. It'd probably be a morning session and like an evening session, I would assume, or late afternoon session. But also like bodybuilders have like coaches who are very qualified, but in essence, they'll never do 2 a day every single day back to back. So it's quite structured. The rep range is calculated, the amount of sets they do, exactly which muscles they're coupling on those particular days, because some muscle groups are bigger than others, which obviously requires more energy, more calories, because they have to count include their diet as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's all really phenomenal science that they didn't get into. So it's not as simple as just saying, oh, I'm going to start training twice a day and become a bodybuilder. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Very, very intricate science.
Because I was following Mike Mensa. He's also a ex-professional bodybuilder, now bodybuilding coach. So what he does with his clients is that he does 3 days in and then 4 days off. But the 3 days in are really, really intense, right? So he gives them four days of recovery. But that didn't make sense to me at the time, because I was like, I'm not going to skip gym for flipping 4 days, mate. You know what I mean?
No, I hear you. But I mean, also you got to look at it. So he gives them 3 days of grueling training, but it's not 4 days of laying in bed.
Yeah.
It's probably 4 days of recovery. So you might find they're doing light stuff. light cardio, maybe some light sets in the gym, whatever other, maybe therapy, getting some muscle tissue massages, etc. So rest doesn't mean staying at home and just laying in bed. It could mean a number of things. Recovery, rather.
Because I think that's the purpose of this conversation, right? Because now we have to go really, really deeper into what rest means when you're actually training, right? Because I don't think a lot of people knew there was such a thing as active rest. And
it's quite a boring topic because everybody wants to just go ham in the gym. You want to go?
Or not.
Yeah, or not.
You know what I mean? So the purpose why I chose this topic is because, firstly, I was struggling to get some of my clients to actually take a break when they were supposed to, because you can actually see that they're actually tired when you have a session with them. You know what I mean?
You ever see by their performance, right?
Yeah, you see by the performance that this is not this. I'm definitely sure we've done more than this before.
Yeah.
So now we'll be going deeper into the rest and recovery, because there are other factors as well that affect us, right? Because we don't do this professionally, right? We don't train people who do this, but they want to stay healthy and they still want to look good, right? And work is also a factor, and the amount of time they spend in traffic is also a factor, right? Because these are the people they're really, really tired when they come to us, and they want to get the results that they really want. So how do you navigate through that? You know what I mean? Because I personally, because I'm aware of these factors, and I know that most of the day they really, really being sedentary and they're just sitting. That's why I give them a few more rest days than one, because I think they need to recover better. Because I don't know, it just makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So how was your personal experience in terms of that? How do you navigate around that?
Okay, so I don't know. I try to factor in. I do it on an individual to individual basis.
Yeah.
So first of all, you factor in their goals, and the timeline of their goal.
Yeah.
And then you manage their expectations by telling them exactly what they want and what it demands, and they'll figure out if they're willing to commit. And then through that, you can navigate, because at the end of the day, it's only elite athletes who can really push themselves to a place where, you're training so hard, it's affecting your performance. It's actually decreasing your performance. That's like elite level athletes.
Yeah.
So you need to also help them psychologically, because being a little bit sore here, a little bit stiff there does not necessarily mean you've overtrained.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You will get little bumps, niggles along the way, of course, I understand. But so it's also like psychological thing. And people like to hang on to this idea that, overtrained.
Yeah.
Maybe you haven't overtrained, maybe you just under-recovered.
Okay.
So you help them with that process psychologically, give them support, and then also help them with the recovery process. And if they're training at, like, obviously depending on what level they're training at, you then incorporate certain supplementation that'll assist in the recovery process, because that's essentially what training is. You break down the tissue to rebuild it.
Yeah.
Put your body through so much stress that it adapts, and that's how you get stronger and faster, whatever, fitter, agile, etc.
It's the right type of stress.
Exactly, the right type of stress.
Yeah. So under recovery, let's talk about under recovery for a bit, right? Because yes, we talk about overtraining, but then we don't talk about under recovery. Right? Take us more through that term, under recovery.
Okay, so under recovery basically means managing your load and intensity in between training sessions, whether it's isolation training, you're doing muscle groups or full body, whatever your split is, so that you don't incur overuse injuries, which then leave you susceptible to like a lot of injury and things of that nature. So basically your recovery process should allow your body to be in the best possible condition it can be to then perform again without any issues.
Oh, okay.
So under recovery would entail something like lack of sleep, you're not sleeping.
Yeah.
Maybe you're drinking too much.
Yeah.
That'll obviously inhibit the recovery process.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just eating the wrong food. Maybe you're not getting enough food.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they work hard, say they forget to eat during the day, things like that really hampers your recovery, because your body uses all the nutrients you put into it to try to help recover, repair those muscles, strengthen everything. So if you are leading a lifestyle that's not conducive to your recovery, then that's under recovery.
All right. Oh, cool. Let's get into
media, where you are.
Lights, camera, action. What does it truly take to make it as a performing artist? How do you get from Zanzi streets to world stages? Join Noni and Palesa for an educational and inspirational show for youth aspiring to join the performing arts. Taking an honest view on of the industry, the show aims to prepare them for a profession in the arts. Subscribe on YouTube, listen on any good podcast platforms, or find it on www.yourmedia.co.za. Your Media, where you are.
Your media, where you are.
All right, man. So let's talk about the recovery during programs. Because obviously, when you set up a program, it's around 6 to 8 weeks, right? At most. Or it could be just a month.
Yeah, it could be 4 to 8 weeks or whatever. However you pray. It could even be 12 weeks.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So let's talk about the recovery that needs to be taken during programs. Because after that 12 weeks, you might have hit a plateau, right? Or you might need to change the program just to increase the volume.
Yeah, so I don't know. In between training programs, you don't always necessarily need recovery between them. If you hit a plateau, maybe your body's just gotten used to what you're doing and you need to switch things up so that you can readapt to something else. Because the whole idea of reaching your goals is your body adapting to what you're putting it through. So once it's now adapted, you need to sort of change things up. But it's not uncommon to have 1 week, what trainers normally call a deload week.
Yeah.
Decrease the load of training and just go to that week, let your body recover. And then the next week, it could even be 2 deload weeks, depending on how hard you're going and what you're trying to achieve. Over the next 2 weeks, then you can go straight into your next program. So it doesn't necessarily mean like a week of no activity.
Yeah, okay. So it's still that active recovery that you were talking about.
I mean, I think a week of inactivity, will only apply to, really elite athletes at like a high level where they're really putting their bodies through the meat grinder.
Yeah. So what would that week entail though?
I would say it would entail a lot of, so let's say you have a training program, you take the training program, you reduce the amount of sets, reduce the weight, focus on just purely technique, train some mobility work just to increase the mobility of your joints, some stretching work so you can increase your flexibility, some light cardio, maybe even throw in like a sport that you enjoy. You could play some squash, a little bit of touch rugby, soccer, whatever you're into, something like that.
Okay.
Because at the same time, you want to make it fun, right? You don't want to make it like, you're not trying to turn just an ordinary person who has a few body goals into forcing them into a road they don't want to take. So,
some of these body goals that we see on these streets are very, very. Have you seen these Instagram body goals that we get shown?
And that's why it's important to explain to them. Look, realistically, hypothetically, I hear you, but realistically speaking, man, let me just manage your expectations.
It's that summer bodies are made in winter.
Myth. Yeah, myth. I call it an urban myth.
It's a very...
for some people, it's possible.
So?
For reasons.
Oh, well, obviously, it depends on your body type and your genetics, right? So let's get into, okay, we're talking about under recovery, right? Let's talk about overtraining, right? Because you said earlier on that people might think that they're overtraining, but they're actually under recovery.
Yeah.
But overtraining is actually a thing.
Look, it is a thing. I think it's a thing that applies to a very select few.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying this is because it's not just a term that was created to describe aches and pains in your body because you feel like you're too sore to train, right?
Yeah.
It's a term that was used to describe what happens to your body physiologically when you put yourself through too much. So basically what happens is you overstretch yourself.
Yeah.
You're training, it could be intensity, it could be volume, it could be a combination of both.
Yeah.
It could be frequency as well, where to a point where you're now decreasing your overall peak performance. So your performance is decreasing while your training is increasing. That will give you an indication that, oh wait, I'm actually overtraining. Yeah, so there's overtraining and then a lot of people get hurt, but that's just an overuse injury or maybe improper technique or whatever the case may be.
Okay. So let's talk about recovery during injuries, right? Because you get cases where some people that you're training do get injured. You know what I mean? And people that might be listening right now or who are going to listen to this podcast might be going through the same thing. You know what I mean? Some people, shoulder recoveries, someone might have pulled a hamstring because of poor form, right? And then we have to actually integrate that into the program, a recovery program. So does that entail active recovery as well?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's no ways a muscle is going to recover in the best possible way if you just leave it. I mean, imagine like a plate. Take a plate, drop it on the floor, it breaks. Yeah. If you just leave it there, nothing's going to happen. It's just
a broken plate.
So, you have to actively. I mean, remember, you got to tell your body that, excuse me, we need to speed up the process. So you got to get blood flowing in that area. You got to get activity, stimulate all the muscle and the cells around that cellular activity, so that you can stimulate the recovery in the area.
Okay, so how do you go about that? So how long would that process take? So obviously, yes, the more the muscle is active during the recovery process, the quicker it will heal, right? But let's talk about something as serious as a joint, because I know I have a history of joint injuries. For instance, my shoulder. You know what I mean? And it took me a while to actually recover from that, because I couldn't actually do anything about that for a while.
Okay, so when it comes to things like joints that are quite delicate, first of all, you should be under the guidance of a professional, biokineticist or a physio, who can help you along the way. But also, once you feel like you've hit a space where you recovered, you don't then go crazy, start doing shoulder exercises. You work on mobility to get your full range back in the joint and get the joint fully functional. And then once it's fully functional, then manage the load. So you're obviously not going to go back to where you left off. You're going to manage the load and build, because remember, slow is fast. No, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah.
So that's
you see, I wish I had a podcast like this back in the day to tell me this shit, because I had to learn that the hard way.
Exactly. So in the long run, there's no longevity left in the joint. Because you're just abusing it.
Yeah, because I had a shoulder injury. I actually just graduated. I had a shoulder injury, and I should have known not to strain it that much.
Exactly, but it's also psychological, because you remember, but when I left, I was lifting 40s or 50s. Now I'm on the other side of the rack.
Yeah.
But it's just about patience, and
because it's an ego thing, right? As well.
Important to listen to your body as well.
Yeah.
That's actually another aspect of overtraining, under recovery. You should really listen to your body. Even if, let's say, you tell your client, look, you work Monday to Saturday, Sunday off. If on Thursday your body's feeling off, you're not feeling right, you take the day off and you listen to your body. Because no use in running yourself into the ground without listening to your body, because your body will let you know.
Yeah.
And of course, you can catch that up or do it another time, maybe even later in that day. Maybe in the morning you're not feeling great.
Yeah.
So I mean, a fantastic way to also manage, to see if for those who are to like their fitness gadgets, the heart rate monitors, if you track your heart rate every single day, it'll tell you. So when you notice a discrepancy between your resting heart rate and your current heart rate on that day, let's say it's above, 15 to 20% of what it usually is, then you get an idea that something is not right. You'd be catching a cold, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and then talking about that as well, talking about catching a cold, let's talk about training in that state. You know what I mean? Because I know I used to be one of those people who would say, no, I'll just sweat it off.
That's a hard no. That's a hard no. That's an absolute no.
I'd get the flu and I'd be like, no, I'll just sweat it off. So how detrimental is that? Because I know how it feels. Because in most cases I end up feeling worse, but because my mind is telling me like, listen, dude, you have to keep on training, otherwise you lose in these games. How detrimental is that to your recovery?
It's absolutely detrimental. In some cases, could even lead to death, and it has in the past. So if you don't know what's happening in your body, right? Let's say you decide it's a flu. You don't even know if it's a virus. If it's a virus, it's in your blood, right? You go to gym, pumps the blood through your body, so this thing's going to travel even further and attack places it shouldn't even be.
Even quicker as well.
If you're just taking the time off to look at it. So my best advice is to always absolutely no activity till you've established exactly where you are. You could take 2-3 days off. Sometimes you may even only need a day and you realize that, okay, now I'm feeling a lot better today. Let me go in. But the worst thing you can do for yourself is decide, okay, I've got flu. I'm going to go and sweat it out.
Yeah.
It's really the worst thing you can do.
So I'm lucky to be alive, actually.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you got to listen. Like I said, you got to listen. If your body's telling you no.
Yeah.
I mean, you lift something and your heart rate shooting through your chest, and that's an indication you should stop, because normally this is an inactivity for you, right?
I was almost controversial here there about my body telling me no, but anyway, so
let's not mention his name, please.
Let's not do that. And that's an interesting topic, because with age comes experience. you know.
Absolutely.
Also I'm a health and fitness professional, and I have to practice what I preach,
Absolutely.
you know. And I've had to learn that the hard way as well, because there were times where I decided that, no, listen, dude, flu or not, I'm going in. You know, whether it was me going to the gym or whether it was me going on or going to a soccer match, because I don't run much, but you'll cover some KMs in the on a soccer pitch, right? And I felt absolutely terrible the next day or for the next week, because my body doesn't even know how to process what I've just done to it. So
Exactly.
I think it's important that we do touch on that, because some of our clients don't even tell us that they're feeling under the weather. They just train through it.
Absolutely, because they're scared that if they tell you they're not feeling all right, you're going to tell them that nah, it's off.
Yeah,
But it's really the right thing to do, because I mean, the idea of training and going to gym and working out is really to give you a better quality of life going forward. So why would you do something to compromise that going forward? It doesn't make any sense. And I know the urban myths are that you can go in the sauna, sit and sweat out a flu, but if it's a virus, the sauna or the gym is the worst place for you to be, because it's spreading much faster than you can even imagine. So yeah.
let's talk a bit about supplementation, right? Uh, Intra workout and post workout, and also during rest days, right? How much do they play in your recovery process? Because there are supplementations that you do take during your sessions, right? And they claim to be an energy booster during sessions.
Yeah, well, look, with regards to your post, pre, and intra workouts, a lot of them are supposed to assist you whilst you work hard.
Mm.
So if you're not working at a really high level, then a very well planned out diet should be more than sufficient. Because a supplement is exactly in the name, right? It's supplementing what should already be a good diet. It's not trying to turn McDonald's into Kawhi. You can't say, okay, I eat McDonald's every day, but I'm taking this protein shake, so I should be good.
Yeah.
It's there to help you recover. That's actually the basis of supplements.
Yeah.
It's to help you recover faster so you can work harder for longer.
Because I asked this question because we often see people abusing these supplements. They go really, really hard, and especially in the gym.
They go harder on the supplements than they do in the gym.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
you just see a person spending 3 minutes on that intra shake, on that, and doing no sets at all or no reps at all. So I asked this because I want you to tell us how it affects your recovery period. Say you're on a rest day, right? And you're taking protein shakes on the rest day, and you still have a solid diet, but you just decide that, no, man, I need a protein shake, because you think in your mind it gives you gains, right? Yeah. I'm gonna get bigger. So the protein shake, that's what it's how it's sold to us. If you take this,
no. So look, the protein shake is gonna help you recover faster.
Yeah.
What's gonna make you big is the food that you eat, right?
Yeah, true.
The calories that you put in your body. Of course, there are calories in a shake, but you only take 1, maybe 2 a day, depending on how hard you train and regime. So what I would say is that when it comes to the labeling, of course, it's all marketing, right? They have to tell you that this product is going to make you big. But in reality, that's really not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at bodybuilders, for example, they are some of the biggest guys around, the most ripped, the most lean. You don't see them chugging 50 shakes a day. You see them sitting with their meal prep and eating their greens, eating their protein, getting their macros and micros in. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah, because food does go a lot. Hey, but that shit can be expensive. Those guys eat a lot.
No, it is quite expensive to eat the way they eat. But it can be, you can manage how expensive it is to have a balanced diet. Because remember, you're not trying to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
You're just trying to lead a better life.
So you've been a bodybuilder, right?
No.
Oh yeah, it's your brother.
Yeah, my brother.
Okay, so we've got something in common, right? Because my brother was also a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And I used to watch him eat every time, and I was like, no way, dude.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I could never do that. It looked painful.
It looks grueling. And you know what a lot of people would think is the cutting phase is the most painful. You must see them try bulk.
Oh,
They're shoveling down that food and sitting with water, just trying their best not to gag. I mean, it looks painful.
It was terrible. He visited me. He came to visit me at Ray's this one time with a full chicken and a 5-liter bottle of water. I was like, no, dude.
And you know, when you see it firsthand, you realize that there's a reason why they look the way they look.
Because all he used to tell me was, no, it's for the gains, for recovery. That's all he used to tell me. I just need to recover. I just need to recover.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it's
so
about.
Let's talk about. So there are athletes that recover naturally through gains.
I mean, define naturally.
Or through food. I mean,
okay.
Through food, naturally. Yeah. And then there are athletes who need some sort of, a pick-me-up. I can, we talk about. I'm talking about steroids.
You're talking about performance enhancement.
Yeah, we're talking about performance enhancement. Because now also because we're talking about recovery, those are meant to decrease the recovery time, right?
100%, and they do,
right? So what's the difference? So if you didn't know this, when these bodybuilders train, there's a category for natural bodybuilders, and there's a category for those who are not natural.
There's a vast difference. If you look at them, it's chalk and cheese.
it's really, so that's why I'm asking this question, because it's all in the interest of the topic, right? Because we need to know, because if somebody's interested, they need to check this out, and if they're interested in becoming a bodybuilder, they need to know what the difference is.
No, absolutely. Look, I would say this when it comes to performance enhancing drugs. Look, I'm no scientist, so I don't have base knowledge about how it works chemically. But what I will say this is that if ever that's the route you want to take, you should definitely see a professional, doctor, who's going to be able to advise you if that's the route you want to take. They'll be able to look at your blood work and tell you if it's even something you should
be touching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and also a lot of the times it's just some guy you met in the gym saying, how do you know what he's saying is in there is actually in there?
Yeah.
You don't know. I mean, so it's, I don't know. Those are very...
Could be like the nyaupa of steroids.
You know what I mean? I mean, he could have just made it in his bathtub and, you don't want to be that guy. So I reckon whatever goal you have, just extend it by a couple of years if you have to, and just do the right thing, man.
I'm no scientist either, but I know if you want to go that route, synthol is not the way to go.
Definitely not the way. Those guys look like clowns.
Right? Big arms and no strength.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like bubbles.
Yeah. So if you guys have seen those guys, so the guys that their arms on their shoulders look like bubbles, like something's just a balloon's been stuck up their arms. That's actually is synthol a steroid? It's not a steroid.
I don't even know what.
I don't know how to categorize, but hey, it's called synthol. And whoever's selling synthol, please stop selling to these people. I don't know what the purpose of it is, but they're clearly abusing it.
What I want to know is why it's always injected into the chest, arms, and shoulders. Why never the legs?
Dog, it's for the babies. I get it.
I wonder if you can inject it somewhere else. You know what I mean? No, I'm just be interested to know. Just be interested to know.
We're not talking about rest and recovery.
Rest.
Yeah, no, they need to rest with the synthol. You know what? Because also, as I stated, we don't know what it's meant for. Maybe the people who make it know what it's meant for, but I'm definitely sure that's not what it's made for.
Yeah, 100% can't be.
No, I think there are definitely some benefits to it, but I don't think that's one of them.
Yeah, I'm sure that whatever it was created for, I'm sure it's very efficient at that.
Yeah.
But, look, aesthetically, it's not pleasing.
Yeah. So we've talked about overtraining. We've talked about undertraining. Let's talk about how... I'm going to go back to this yoga thing because it's disturbing me that it's active rest. Because I don't think yoga is active rest.
Active recovery.
It's active recovery. Because yoga 9.5 I won't even lie. Every time.
Nah, look, you know what it is? The type of training that a lot of us tend to do is isolation training.
Of course.
And it shortens your muscles.
Yeah.
Which is why you get like those bulges and everything. It shortens the muscles. So we don't spend a lot of time stretching or even working on mobility, which is the range of motion of all our joints. And as a result, we don't have any range of motion.
Yeah.
So those, I don't want to call them easy, but simple movements become incredibly difficult because muscles are tight, there's no flexibility, and there's no mobility in the joints. And that's just something that comes with practice.
Oh, dog, listen, I do yoga, right? And I think,
Every now and then.
yeah, you know, and I think I'm, I'm, I'm at a higher level than the normal person.
Okay, so let me ask you this: How do you feel your body works now versus before you started yoga?
So I love playing football. I like playing soccer, right? But I'm gonna talk in about my performances when I'm training, because I do a lot of home training. I haven't been to the gym in a while, right? Uh, my performances have become better because also my training has changed, because it's not uh, as isolated as it was as when I was in the gym, right? It's more functional and it's more mobile right now, right? But I will admit that my performances have improved incrementally since I've started taking you.
You see, because flexible is strong and strong is flexible.
True.
So
Flexible is stronger. Stronger is flexible. Quote of the day, guys. Did you hear that?
exactly. So I mean, it only makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So before we finish off, let me do this again.
Your media, where you are.
Lights, camera, action. What does it truly take to make it as a performing artist? How do you go from being from Zanzi streets to the world stage? Join Noni and Palisa for an educational and inspirational show for youth aspiring to join the performing arts. Take an honest view of the industry. The show aims, or taking an honest view of the industry, the show aims to prepare them for a profession in the arts. Subscribe on YouTube, listen on any podcast platform, or find it on www.yourmedia.co.za. Your media, hashtag where you are. All right, dog. We're going into the tail end of our topic now, right? Uh, let's just put it all in. Let's just wrap it up. You know, let's just if we're talking about rest, recovery, overtraining, what when you close it off, how would you tell people? How would you describe it to the people? What advice would you give the people? Yeah.
Okay. So to wrap it up, what I would say with regards to rest and recovery, it's something that you do actively and proactively. It's your diet. It's what you do on the days that you're not training, and it's what you do in between your training sessions. That will ultimately create the best conditions for your body to perform at the best level it can. So that includes sleeping enough, managing your things like alcohol intake, managing the junk food, engaging in light activities on days that you're not training. Could be hiking, it could be walking, could be cycling. Spoke about a few. Trying things like ice baths, even seeing a sports massage therapist to get some blood flow. All those things can then complement whatever you're trying to achieve.
And also some of these things are free.
Yeah, some of them, I mean, walking is free.
I mean, if you have enough ice, you can.
Exactly. Other things I understand might be a little bit expensive, you know, body sports massage, etc. But yeah, there are definitely ways that you don't even need ice. You could just jump into a pool. It's winter now. It's cold. Definitely do the job.
Try that. See. So I think we missed one very important part. You know what else is also free? Sleep. Because I think that's the most underrated thing when it comes to recovery.
It's a very important part of recovery as well.
It's a really, really important part of recovery, because the less sleep you get, I mean, the less your body, the less time your body gets to recover.
Absolutely, and the more tired you are,
yeah,
the less the quality of your sleep is. So you don't want to, kill yourself and then even compromise the quality of your sleep. So in moderation, 80-20 rule.
80-20 rule, right? So how much do you sleep though?
Myself, I don't know. Look, probably not as much as I should, but fair amount.
Is it?
Yeah.
Whenever it's winter, I go in.
But we gotta wake up at the crack of dawn to help these people.
Yeah. But I really make sure that I go in. Winter is.
I hope you have someone to keep you warm.
Sorry?
I hope you have someone.
I have me. I am someone.
I see what you did there.
My mother told me I'm special. So, dog, tell us more about your plans going forward, dog. So we have, see, you've got a top on that's called.
Oh yeah.
Even here, you see, I'm advertising Kgame Fitness.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
The goal going forward is just to build a space for people to be able to achieve their health and fitness goals, whether you're just ordinary person trying to get a little bit healthier, a high-end athlete trying to achieve your goals. And the idea is also just to make people realize that it's not as intimidating as it looks. A lot of people think that they hear health and fitness, they hear bland meals, they hear grueling training, they hear all these things. I mean, there really is a fun way to approach it and make it enjoyable without all the stigma attached to it. But people are slowly opening up, and I suppose with Corona, they also had nothing much else to do. So it's really opened up a lot of doors in that regard and given people a different view of what it could be.
Well, actually, talking about what might sound grueling as well, you guys, when lockdown started, you posted about 100 burpee challenge.
Oh, yes, 100 burpee challenge.
When I saw it, I was like, shit, I have to do 100 burpees. Anyone who knows me will tell you that I hate burpees, dude. But I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So we posted. So I had a 1,000 rep challenge that was given to me as well, and then I shared it with some of my friends. That was also fun, But it didn't include burpees, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was actually an interesting time. The idea behind it, funny enough, was exactly that. So it was not to get people to love burpees, but it was to get people to not hate them and realize it's actually not that bad. And there's a way to do it that'll get you better and better. I mean, if I say to you now, do 100 burpees, you'll think of the 100th one.
Yeah.
But if you just do them one at a time,
and
then you realize it actually takes you 10 minutes.
It does.
It's 10 minutes. I mean,
it does. So I was challenged the other day. So I am doing by one of my friend's girlfriends. And then I was like, okay, cool. Because I hadn't done burpees in a long time before then, actually. I had forgotten about putting burpees in my regime. Oh, I hadn't forgotten.
How dare you? That's the Holy Grail. How dare you? That's blasphemous.
So I skipped and then skip 500 skips and 50 burpees. But also, obviously, you divide them. 100 skips, 50, and then 10 burpees. 100 skips.
Okay. And how long did it take you?
It took me like around 10 minutes, I think. Or less. Yeah. I think I'm relatively fit.
I mean, you look pretty fit, so.
Yeah, no. Thank you for the compliment, sir. Yeah, man. So yeah, man, that was it for today, for this week, actually, with the Health Fix with Mo. Your weekly dose of health and fitness knowledge to get you started on your health and fitness journey. And today we had Katlego, Kgame, health and fitness entrepreneur and ex-professional athlete. Are you gonna go back, dog?
I'd love to go back, but it's not on the cards. Exactly.
Yeah, dog. So how do we find you on the socials, dog?
You can hit me up on Instagram.
Yeah.
My handle is KK_Kgame Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hit me up on Facebook. It's just my name and surname, Katlego Kgame.
Okay.
And I also have a fitness page, which is just _Kgame Fitness _.
Okay. Absolutely. All right. Everybody. That's it.
Oh, it's a wrap. Okay.
That is it for today. No.
Sweet.
I'm still recording. Don't say anything. Don't say anything that might have to make us listen to me. I'm just saying goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for those who are listening to us live on YouTube and Facebook. To get the full podcast, go to www.yourmedia.co.za, or you can catch us on Spotify and iTunes. Peace out. Bye. Bye.
Steady and let's set those body goals. The Health Fix with Mo, a body and mind journey towards a healthier you. Your media, where you are.